Bonsoir à tous, I hope you're doing great. Today it is Tuesday, May the 5th. And for those who've been following this live in the chat, today is the 39th anniversary of my mom arriving to France. So that's pretty cool. So you can wish her a happy anniversary in the chat if you want. And fun fact is completely unrelated. Because everything is a bit complicated at the moment, I can only film my weekly lessons for the Tuesday when my son is asleep. And I had to film the one that's going to be released today yesterday evening because my partner had to go to his office this morning. And I look like a vampire who is filming a lesson in her casket at night. So I'm really, really sorry. And he reminded me that it's real life and that nothing can be absolutely perfect. But this one is really awkward because you can see it's night and I'm using artificial light, and because I forgot to put concealer under my eyes because I was in a rush because he had just gone to bed. I had just finished doing this with you live. So yesterday evening I rushed to get some makeup and get dressed and do it. But the video of today is really, really ugly. Even though the content is good, but I really look like I'm a dead person. And this reminds me of the nanofiction because I could put myself in the shoes of a character from it, being a vampire doing a French lesson from her casket. So look at it. You can laugh at me because if it helps, I will be very happy that you can mock me there. So keep an eye on it. It's about tout, très, and trop, très, and beaucoup. Today's tales are not very scary because this is something that you already know and this is cute. So I didn't pick anything scary for tonight because I wanted something nice. And let's start reading it together. If this is your first time, the way we do that is we read the tale together in French. I want to hear you read, yes, even though we're not in the same country, probably. And then we analyze each sentence. I give you all the vocabulary for the nouns, the verbs, the expressions, and all the liaison and some tips on pronunciation as well with context. And then I reread the tale entirely and I explain everything, so I'm sure you understand the twist, because sometimes the twists are a little bit tricky. And also I wanted to give a shout out to Richard, who has prepared something for you all. And I want to hear more from you, Richard. If you could email me about how we can share that with everybody. I'm just teasing you to say it's Richard's idea, and he made something for all of us so that we can remember it together, this nanofiction reading and the fairy tale reading. So not saying anything more, but maybe tomorrow you might see something that I will share that Richard made. Maybe tomorrow. Let's read the first tale together, enough for teasers. Ce voyageur temporel se retrouva au beau milieu d'un champ de bataille. Le cadran de sa machine indiquait 1340. Je suis au tout début de la guerre de 100 ans, s'exclama-t-il. Un des soldats médusés s'approcha et lui demanda « Vous avez dit combien ?» Obviously, this is a very classic story because Patrick Vauquier is not the first one to do this time traveling thing where they come back in the past and they announce a time, usually for a war or a very, very bad thing, and the characters don't know anything about it. But it's always good to come back to this story. Let's analyze the first sentence together. Today the vocabulary is pretty easy, so you're going to be at ease. Ce voyageur temporel se retrouva au beau milieu d'un champ de bataille. Ce voyageur temporel. So it is a traveling No, this is not what I wanted. I wanted this. Un voyageur temporel. It is, you can guess, I think, a time traveler. Un voyage is a trip or a travel. Un voyage. And remember, for those, what I think it was already in the nanofiction where we studied what Y is. Y, I'm going to remind you, is 2i. Est égal I plus I. So, voyage, it is voix, plus yage. And every time you have an Y, you have to put two I's instead in order to pronounce them properly. Voyage, it is voix, plus yage, voyage, as in you had two I, and this is called un Y. I write it because I found out that some people didn't know that. It sounded obvious to me, but a colleague of mine who is Canadian, she told me, I've been studying French for a long time and I had not realized that this was how you called it. Un Y. Coucou! Someone just woke up from his nap and had his 4 p.m. snack. Sorry, I have to focus again, to concentrate. Ce voyageur temporel se retrouva. Se retrouver is to find yourself. Se retrouver, to find yourself. And this can be real. For example, je me suis retrouvé au milieu du périphérique. Oh, that's awful. En Vélib. I found myself in the middle of le périphérique. It is the circle motorway around Paris. En Vélib, and the Vélib is the bicycles that you can rent in Paris. Je me suis retrouvée au milieu du périphérique en Vélib. On essaye sur le périphérique en Vélib. That's simple. Je me suis retrouvée sur le périphérique en Vélib. Or it can be something spiritual as well. Grâce à let's say cette retraite en montagne chez... Oh, let's use that. Je me suis retrouvée. Thanks to... I'm going to read that. Grâce à cette retraite en montagne chez les pères chartreux, je me suis retrouvée. This is extremely local. Grâce à cette retraite. Thanks to this retreat. It's this kind of trip, well, not trip, but stay that you take and you're going to be alone in a cell to think about your life. En retraite, en montagne, in the mountains, chez les pères chartreux. This is a religious order that is in the mountains next to Grenoble. Je me suis retrouvée, I found myself again. And these are the ones who make la chartreuse as well, the alcohol. La chartreuse, the alcohol, it's the green one that's made where I live. It's the alcohol from Grenoble as well, that the students drink as well. Ce voyageur temporel se retrouva au beau milieu d'un champ de bataille. What is au beau milieu? He could have said au milieu, it works. And the au beau milieu is the same. En plein milieu is the same as well. But because you want to emphasize that it was really right in the middle, you add au beau milieu or en plein milieu. And here it's the same. You can say in the middle, and it's exactly the same as right in the middle. So here he could have said au milieu, but he says au beau milieu. He could have said en plein milieu to emphasize the fact that it was completely in the middle and he felt surrounded by it, which is the purpose of this. It is to feel surrounded when you're saying it. D'un champ de bataille, un champ de bataille, we saw this, I think, with the Knights of Water and Fire, remember? And it is the battlefield. The battlefield. Un champ de bataille, and it is even a battlefield. Let's reread that together and look at the liaison. Ce voyageur temporel se retrouva au beau milieu, d'un champ de bataille. Here we don't have any liaison. This time traveler found himself in the middle of a battlefield. Le cadran de sa machine indiquait 1340. Le cadran, it is the face here. The face of a watch, for example. It's what I found on World Reference. This is what it was telling me. It's the face. So it is where you can see the arm of the machine telling you what number, what date you are. The face of his machine indicated 1340. Haha, numbers are difficult. And it's a student who told me you should do a lesson, an episode where, or even a course where we can practice our numbers like at fast pace. So if this is of interest to you, let me know. I think it's a funny idea. 1300, I hope I don't make any mistake. 1340. That's good. 1340. Okay. Le cadran de sa machine indiquait 1340. Here we don't have any liaison. And we could say 1340, by the way. And this is exactly the same. But when we want to give dates, especially years, we might say that. 1340. I'm really sorry that French numbers are so tricky, and especially that we have different ways of saying them. But you don't have to worry about the struggles that you're going through, because I have the same in English. When I was living in England, what I did is I never answered the phone, and I let people leave a message on my phone when I did not recognize the number, so that they could give me their phone number so I could call them back and write it down by listening to the voicemail several times. So it's fine to struggle with numbers. It's absolutely normal, we all do. And I know that French numbers are difficult, but if you work on them, you're going to succeed. It's just a matter of working. There is no real secret. Unfortunately, I would love to give you my secrets, but it's a matter of knowing them and practicing with flashcards or dictation or anything that you like that makes you think about them. Next sentence. Je suis au tout début de la guerre de 100 ans, s'exclama-t-il. Je suis au tout début. Here we have une liaison. Je suis au tout début de la guerre de 100 ans. Here we have une liaison. S'exclama-t-il. I am right at the beginning. Au tout début is right at the beginning. Right at the beginning. And the opposite, do you know? Any idea? It is à la toute fin. It's the opposite. Au tout début, à la toute fin. Je suis au tout début, I'm right at the beginning of la guerre de 100 ans. La guerre de 100 ans, it is the name of the war. You don't have to think about any other name. You can learn it by heart. And in English, it is the 100 Years' War. It is pretty obvious, so I'm not going to translate it. S'exclama-t-il, what can you see here? You can see different things. You can see that it is le passé simple. le passé simple, and you have this inversion that is typical of dialogue. And the s'exclamer, it is to exclaim. It is to say something. The fighter is surprised. The traveler is surprised. He might say it a little bit louder than he thought. This is all the context around s'exclamer. And this is le passé simple, which is the tense of the tale. And last sentence, ready? 1, 2, 3. Un des soldats médusés s'approcha et lui demanda. Vous avez dit combien? Here, any liaison? Un des soldats médusés s'approcha et lui demanda. Vous avez, here we have one, dit combien? One of the soldiers, un des soldats, it is exactly the same. Un des soldats s'approcha et lui demanda. But the soldat was médusé. Médusé, what is médusé? La méduse, do you know what this is? It is a jellyfish. And we say une méduse. Jellyfish. Is it a fish? Not even sure. It actually is a fish. Une méduse. It is a jellyfish. And you might know la gorgone. Méduse. Gorgone is a mythological character from the Greek mythology, and it is in English Medusa. And for those who don't know her, what she used to do is that she used to, I don't know the word in English. When she looked at you, you became a statue. And she had a head with snakes, with several snakes. And this is the picture that you might have of her. Méduse was evil, and when she looked at you, you would get, when you saw her eyes, that's the thing, when your eyes crossed, you would become a statue. So she is dangerous. And from that became made médusé. Médusé, it is to make, do we have a better, yeah, I have one. It is to astound, stun, or stupefy. It is this way that you have to become a statue when something surprises you so much. You cannot speak, you cannot move, you have no idea what to do next. This is médusé. And the soldiers had just seen someone arrive and out of thin air from the future, because they don't understand his clothes, or maybe from a foreign planet for them, and they can't move. They're so surprised. But one of them is more brave than the others, and il s'approcha. S'approcher is to get closer. S'approcher, to get closer, et lui demanda, and asked him, vous avez dit combien? And literally you said how much, because he just heard what the explorer said. Okay, let's read the full tale and explain, just to make sure you understand the twist. Breathe in, breathe out, and let's read together. I want to hear you, okay? I want to hear you. Ce voyageur temporel se retrouva au beau milieu d'un champ de bataille. This time traveler found himself in the middle of a battlefield. Le cadran de sa machine indiquait 1340. Le cadran de sa machine indiquait 1340. The face of his machine was telling him it was the year 1340. And he says, Je suis au tout début de la guerre de 100 ans, s'exclama-t-il. I am right at the beginning of the 100 Years' War, he said. Un des soldats médusés s'approcha et lui demanda, Vous avez dit combien? One of the soldiers, stunned or astounded, got closer and asked, You said how much? Because he just heard that the war was going to last 100 years, and he had no idea because he didn't know yet. You only know the past, you don't know the future. So it's unfortunate for him. And again, this is not a new tale because it's been said over and over when you're doing time travel, especially for the 100 Years' War, but I think it's very cute. If this is your first time, what we're reading are Nanofictions by a French author called Patrick Baud, and you can find them on Twitter. But try not to spoil yourself and just read them together. Let's move on to the next one, which is short and cute, and there is nothing scary there. Ready? 1, 2, and 3. Ce centaure et cette sirène s'étaient rencontrés sur un site réservé aux créatures mythologiques et ils eurent 2 enfants ensemble, une humaine et un hippocampe. This is very cute. This story, I think, kind of doesn't make much sense in terms of DNA, but we're going to assume that the centaur and the siren both have human genes somewhere, and we can make this story work because it's beautiful. And we can do it like this. Let's read this together and try to find the liaison if there are any. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Ce centaure et cette sirène s'étaient rencontrés sur un site réservé aux créatures mythologiques. Ce centaure is this centaur, so it is the creature that you have with a human torso and horse's legs. Et cette sirène, une sirène is a mermaid. I think you might have the same word in English. Une sirène, it is a mermaid. But it is a siren as well. The loud noise that we hear for alerts, for example, on the police cars, on the medics' cars as well. And in France, do you know when we hear a siren all the time? If you've been living in France, you know that because you might have been surprised the first time you heard it. Do you know? La sirène sonne tous les mercredis à midi. Tous les premiers mercredis du mois. Tous les premiers mercredis du mois à midi. I don't know honestly where this is from. You can Google it. In France, la sirène sonne tous les premiers mercredis du mois à midi. In France, you have a siren that makes noise every first Wednesday of the month at noon. I don't know if it's to test it anymore or for people to be used to the sound in case there is an emergency, but it's something we get used to. And sometimes it just reminds you that it's Wednesday and it's the first one of the month. And I'm sure it's very surprising the first time you hear it because you might wonder what's happening. Is there an emergency or something? But it's not, it's just something that happens every month. S'étaient rencontrés, they had met. Rencontrer, it is to meet. S'étaient rencontrés sur un site, on a site réservé à, well, here it is réservé aux créatures mythologiques. Réservé à, it is only for. It is reserved or booked. It is only for. And this is the case for a club or if someone is has booked a table, for example. Réservé is to book, and here it is only for, it is reserved. aux créatures mythologiques. It is only for mythological creatures. Let's reread this one together. I didn't find any liaison. Did you find any? Ce centaure et cette sirène s'étaient rencontrés sur un site réservé aux créatures mythologiques. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Et ils eurent, did you find this one? Good. And there is another one right after. Et ils eurent 2 enfants. Yes. Good. 2 enfants ensemble, 2 enfants ensemble, 2 enfants ensemble. Both work. 2 enfants ensemble, une humaine et un hippocampe. And here there is une liaison because it is as if the H did not exist here. Et ils eurent 2 enfants and they had 2 children together. Ensemble is together. Ensemble, together, and they had 2 children together. Do you know what the classic ending of a tale is? And they lived happily ever after. It is ils vécurent heureux et eurent beaucoup d'enfants. Ils vécurent heureux et eurent beaucoup d'enfants. They lived happily and had lots of children. It is the ending of a tale in French, and the beginning is Il était une fois. Il était une fois, and the end, ils vécurent heureux et eurent beaucoup d'enfants. This is the French ending of a tale that actually fits that. Because I'm not really sure that for the cat with his boots, it works. How do you call chat booté? Puss in Boots. I'm not sure that in the tale Puss in Boots it actually applies, but this applies to Sleeping Beauty, for example. This is the kind of ending that is always in this kind of tale. And they had 2 children together, une humaine et un hippocampe, a human and a seahorse. Un hippocampe, it is a seahorse. This is so cute. I wonder how they're going to play together, but I'm sure it's going to be fine. Let's read the full tale together. Ce centaure et cette sirène s'étaient rencontrés sur un site réservé aux créatures mythologiques et ils eurent 2 enfants ensemble, une humaine et un hippocampe. What is it about? The centaur has horse's leg and a human torso, so he's half human, half horse. And the siren, et cette sirène, is half fish and half human. They met on a website that was only for a mythical creature, like any kind of dating site. Et ils eurent 2 enfants ensemble, and they had 2 children together, a human and a seahorse. And this shows that they mixed their DNA and their half parts, and they made 2 creatures that recombined in another way, and that's really, really cute. I wanted to do something cute today because tomorrow we are going to see aliens blowing up the White House and a cute, how do you say pictogram? It might be the same word. And a cute symbol or pictogram who wants to have a big, famous, entertaining life. And these ones are going to be funny as well, but a bit more bittersweet. That's it for today. I'm going to put the playlist of the past tales if you missed any or if you want to watch them again. And I will see you tomorrow at 7:15 Paris time. Bonne soirée, bonne journée, maybe une bonne nuit. Don't forget to watch today's lesson where I look like a vampire teaching French from her casket. And be nice, okay? Laugh, but not too much. And I will see you tomorrow. Allez, salut, à demain.